Generation X. In general terms, those born between 1965 and 1980. Latchkey kids. Independent. Existentialism. Modern philosophy focusing on personal experience, human ability, and responsibility in an otherwise meaningless universe. We're the cause. This is the effect. We're the Gen X-istentialists. Welcome in, everyone, to the Gen X-istentialists podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
And we are here to extemporaneously expound upon any number of topics for the next 20 minutes or so. If you're new to the show, we spin Mega Wheel of Magnificent, and whatever topic comes up, that's what we talk about. So it's all just chaos here at the Gen X-istentialists. And about how many topics do we have on the wheel now?
Last time I checked, we had a little over 1,300
exciting
13. Topics.
And so if you've listened to any of the shows in like the last 10 episodes or so, we had a little bit of a deal where the same things kept popping up, but we fixed that. Mm-hmm. Everything's good. Mega Wheel, she should be rolling smoothly to the point where the sound effects, I mean, we have really raised the bar here at the Gen X-istentialists. Are we ready to give her a spin?
Yep.
Let's give her a spin. This is Mega Wheel the Magnificent coming at us with our first topic for this show. As the wheel winds down, our topic is... Wow. Okay. Would you rather fight 1,000 ant-sized polar bears or one polar bear-sized ant?
I would have to say I'd rather fight the 1,000 ant-sized polar bears, just for the simple fact that an ant has such a strength discrepancy to its size.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the amount of strength that a polar bear-sized ant would contain? I mean, with no central nervous system. I mean, have you not watched Starship Troopers? You know how hard it is to kill a bug.
Yeah.
A polar bear is like 18 feet tall or something ridiculous like that when it stands
enormous.
on its
Yeah.
So that would be terrifying.
I have to lean away from the 1,000 ant-sized polar bears because I was traumatized, and I don't remember whether it was Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. It was one of those TV shows, and there was an episode where there were like ants that were probably the size of small dogs, and they had almost human faces.
The Zonti.
Yeah.
That's from the Outer Limits.
Okay,
okay. I'm a nerd.
That show freaked me the hell out when I was a little kid. I hated those things because the expressions on their faces were just fucking haunting. Just tore me up. The fact that you know the name of the creatures freaks me out too. Like it's
I remember
terrifying.
drawing them when I was a kid. I used to like to draw monsters, and that was one of them that I drew when I was a kid.
Oh, just
I'll tell you, if that freaks you out, have you ever seen The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao?
No.
It is a interesting film. I recommend you see it. It's from the 60s.
Okay.
It's very I think Tony Curtis is in it. Ironically.
That's immediately a winner.
Yeah, and he's Dr. Lao.
Okay.
He has 7 faces, but one of these things, there's a dog.
Was he like Manny Faces from He-Man?
It's sort of like that. Twist his head. Now, there's this thing where there's a dog running through the streets and people are screaming, and then they get a close-up of the dog, and it's got a human face with a tongue sticking out like, blah, blah,
God.
Like in its face. It's totally freaky. It would totally freak you out.
Yeah, things like that just, for some reason, it takes a lot to freak me out, but that kind of thing does. Like if you put a human face onto a critter of some kind, especially an insect, it's going to freak me out. Now, centaurs, things like that, don't bother me.
Sure. Because you can see the nips.
Yes. I'm thinking back to the
Mermaids,
Parks and
centaurs.
Rec episode where Leslie Knope was part centaur.
I have to correct myself quickly. It's not Tony Curtis. I'm bad. I know people out there are screaming, all the nerds
Tony
out
who?
there. Tony Randall is in it.
Oh, that's even better.
Of the Odd Couple fame.
That's even better. If it's Tony Randall, I
got all my Broadway Tonys mixed up,
Dude,
if you will.
Totally Randall's great.
Yeah, Tony Randall
totally
is the main dude in it. So I highly recommend it. So I'm sorry to do that, but I had to correct myself before I completely let it slip.
Well, and it just gets back to that thing. Like, I couldn't deal with all the little polar bears. I'd rather have the giant ant, because at some point that becomes like fighting a dragon.
Sure.
You know, there will be some way that we'll be able to take it out, or I'll be able to take it out. At least I believe that.
Flamethrowers.
They
work for both.
Fire extinguishers. We'll find something. I mean, a shotgun blast to the face, if you're, a 2,500-pound ant, it's still going to hurt, I would hope.
That exoskeleton, though.
Fair
Get
point.
through the exoskeleton.
But if you get it like right in the mandibles, I mean, you
got
got you got to figure that somehow we'll be able to make a dent in the thing, you would think. Okay, want to spin again?
Oh, yeah, please.
That was a good topic, but...
Thank you to whoever gave us that topic.
Yeah, some of these, by the way, are sent in. We'll talk about how you can contact us toward the end of the show here. And our second topic... This is kind of... How do you decide what's right and wrong in a complex situation? It's another one of those moral compass questions, I think.
Well, I think only you can decide for yourself what's right and wrong, number one.
And only you can prevent forest fires.
Yep, knowing is half the battle. That's a real interesting question. I mean, I think it's one of those, what's right for me could be wrong for somebody on the other side of the planet. Depends on your belief system, your moral structure, like you said,
and
your
the situation,
moral compass, and the situation. Sure. So, how do I decide? I go with my gut.
Yeah,
my gut is almost never wrong. So,
the thing is, it depends on how you read the question. If it's asking right and wrong from a strict delineation of like good and evil,
well, like a legal sense or something.
Yeah, that changes things.
Sure.
And complex situation is very wide open too. Like, why is it and that gets back to things we've talked about before. Why always matters. Why is it a complex situation? Is it because you don't know everything? Is it because you're just faced with this?
Well, you'll never know everything when it comes to having situations between people. That's where you get complex, because you've heard the old analogy of, my son was a good boy, the one that like murdered half the neighborhood or whatever. He never did anything wrong.
My boy wouldn't do that.
Didn't do nothing. Yeah, but it's one of those things where, do you bring in nature versus nurture? Do you bring in the environment versus, circumstance? Do you bring in education level? Do you bring in whatever? I think in a snap situation, I'll just follow my gut and do what's right for me.
Yeah,
I hate to be like that, but it's like
at the outset you have to.
Yeah, I can't figure out everybody else's problems. I can't carry the weight of your pain.
But you have to.
I don't.
You have to carry everyone's weight, and you have to make sure that you don't trigger anyone.
Oh God!
You have to make sure that you're doing the right thing in the right situation.
I was thinking about this, and I'm like, it's okay that I'm kind of on the back nine of my life at this point. Because I don't really want to live in a world where that is sort of the perceived norm anymore. It's a world that enacts great disappointment, great discomfort for me. And I'm not interested in being a part of that circus.
But see, I still think it's more of how much attention you pay to folks like that. Because in reality, that's all a media creation.
But sooner or later, you end up coming face to face with that when you're in a situation where you are relatively helpless. Let's say you have to deal with the government, so you have to go get IDs or licenses or whatever.
Yeah.
You're in the hospital where you have to deal with whatever troglodytes running the nursing department
and
on your floor.
And your garbage health insurance.
Yeah. So sooner or later you come face to face with people that you would normally ignore.
Yeah.
You do your best to ignore. Sometimes reality just comes up and kicks you right in the
reality
soft
hammer
bits.
hits you.
Yeah.
And suddenly, from what you said about being on the back nine of your life, everything in my head just conjured this image of, I want to sink a hole in one on the 18th. That's my goal.
Watch this putt.
Oh no, I sliced it again.
Yeah.
So again, deciding what's right and wrong, I can go with that it's gut feeling, but I always have to hedge with ask questions. Ask questions. If I can get a little bit more information to help me determine like which way my moral compass points based on that complex situation, I'm going to do that. And so with that, we'll move on and spin Mega Wheel the Magnificent again.
Listen to her go.
She's rolling. She's rolling. I don't know if I like the new sound effect or not.
Nah.
We'll keep it for this episode. I like the applause. Yeah. The applause is helpful.
I'm always living for that, right?
Oh, Jesus, this is a long one. This is a really long one. Holy crap. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
If you could level up any aspect of yourself, for example, strength, intelligence, charisma, D&D folks, we're talking to you, but you had to decrease another aspect of yourself by the same amount, what aspects would you increase and which would you decrease?
Okay. I would love to increase my strength.
Okay.
I am not a strong guy. That's always been one of the things, whenever I sit and we have these conversations with like, oh, if you could be anything for one day, what would you be? Who would you be? What would you be? Blah, blah, blah. I would love to just wake up one day either being beautiful, be a beautiful man,
okay,
or to be a very strong man. Because I just like to live in that body for one day just to see what it would be like to effortlessly pick up things or to lift my wife and carry her across the threshold or something that I'm sad to say. I know all you bros out there are going, you gotta lift, bro. You gotta lift. you fag, you gotta lift. So, yeah, well, that doesn't work. I don't really have a frame to carry a lot of muscle, unfortunately. I'm more of an Eddie Guerrero type, if you know who that is.
Well, I mean, it's not
I'm more
like
of a crawler than a fighter.
It's not like you're a 90-pound weakling either.
No,
I mean,
it's true. But I would decrease my intelligence to bring up my strength.
That is so
because
weird.
Intelligence has done not a lot for me.
Really?
It's getting worse as I get older. The more I know, the less I like to know. So
wow.
I would like to do that. I think I think my charisma's fine where it's at. I think my wisdom's fine where it's at.
Yeah,
my dexterity is kind of crap, but what are you gonna do?
I almost feel like for this question we should have pulled some D&D sheets and like tried to guesstimate about where we actually are.
I think you could probably do that, but I think first you have to answer the question: what would you level up?
Okay, I would definitely take away from dexterity. And my constitution is shit anyway. Being diabetic and stuff, it's like I'm rolling negative there no matter what. So I'm going to pull from that, and I'm going to bump up intelligence and wisdom.
All right.
Just because I feel like I'm always just a little bit short. Like in both those, I feel like those are categories in my real life that if we were playing D&D, I would always need like an 18 and I'd always roll a 17 and not get the bonus and just
okay. So for you nerds out there, or for you non-nerds
let's
out
talk
there,
D&D for a minute.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons deals with basic attributes being strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Now, constitution is how healthy you are, or how much you can withstand poisons or cold and stuff like that. So
hence why I said my constitution is shit, because I've got a chronic condition.
Dexterity, of course, is how deft you are at using your hands or your balance and your athletic coordination and being able to throw and catch and stuff like that. The others you can figure out. Wisdom is sort of
what is strength?
Yeah, what is strength? I don't know. I don't have much. So average stats for a character is 10. Yeah. That is your average baseline stat for most people is a 10. So where do you rate your strength, sir?
My strength, I would say probably 14.
14.
Yeah.
I'd say for me probably about a 9.
I would have gone average. I would have gone 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we come to Constitution. Where are you on the Constitution
I'm
scale?
6 or 7.
Okay, I'd say I'm about a 13 or a 14.
I would agree with that.
All right. How about intelligence? You get to toot your own horn.
I feel like I'm maybe 15.
Yeah, that's where I think I am too.
Okay.
Wisdom?
15.
Okay, probably about a 15 as well.
Yeah.
How about dexterity?
Dexterity, I'm going to give this to you from the perspective of being a musician.
Sure.
That, I think, bumps me up a little bit. I'm going to say that bumps me up, and my overall physical condition brings me back down. So I'm going to say 12 or 13.
Okay. I'm going to say about a 10 for me.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because if you ever see me try to throw a paper wad in a trash can, it's laughable.
It's been decades ago, but we played basketball together.
Oh, geez.
Down at Pioneer Park.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure that was a laughable event.
It wasn't laughable, but it was, not a skill. Okay,
no.
good.
Sports has never been my strong point. How about charisma, sir?
Charisma, I think I'm average. I think I'm 10.
I think I'm 17.
I'm
going to go that far.
Yeah. Well, you're the classic silver-tongued devil.
I ain't gotten looks like I got in charisma, baby.
You could sell ice to an Inuit.
Yeah, so I think that's probably my strongest stat. So I'm stuck being your bard or your con artist. Something the group.
Rogue.
Maybe a priest. I don't know. Maybe I could get away with being a priest probably. But I don't think I could be a fighter or a thief or any of the other cool. I'm no paladin.
Yeah.
So what would you be if you were you yourself right now? What class would you be? Do you think you'd be cut out for?
Oh, I don't think I'm set up to be anything.
Potato farmer.
Yeah, literally. A potato farmer, your average NPC is me.
Really?
I think my stats are... But actually, the intelligence and wisdom would lead me more to a magic wielder.
Yeah.
A wizard or sorcerer or something.
Warlock or something, yeah.
Yeah, preferably a warlock, because I just don't want to... So if you ever wondered, if you're listening to this diatribe here, and you ever wondered... Why do people play D&D? It's just this, because you get to be someone else. It's role-playing. You get to conjure someone else and be that person. That's the fun of it.
Although, ironically, I think the majority of characters I've played have always been myself. Just with extraordinary ability.
Yeah, well, in some ways, they're always going to be. It depends on the DM or GM who's running the game. If they can pull you into the story... I think that makes it better, like you always did.
Oh, thank you.
When you were running things, you pull the people that are playing with you out of themselves and make them be their characters. And I've always enjoyed that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, there we go. That was our D&D our D&D moment. Thank you.
That was a long question, but also a really good one.
Well, there you go.
And I think we got time for one more if it's a really quick one.
All right, so make it quick, Meg.
Give her a spin. Mega Wheel of Magnificent winding down. You didn't change the picture on Mega Wheel, by the way.
I did, and I changed it, and then I changed it back.
This is perfect. This is perfect for the last question of the show.
What do we got?
What's one thing I don't already know about you?
What's one thing that you don't already know about me?
And literally for us, I'm trying to think of something right now, and I'm just like, dude, you know my whole freaking life story.
I got in trouble by my parents. We went to Disney World, nay Epcot Center, when I was 18. This was right after senior year of high school, and I was in my oats, if you will, feeling my oats, as they say. So I was hitting on all sorts of girls while I was on vacation, because I was like, it's just like those 80s movies, those summer movies, like
As one
Surf
does.
2 or Hard Bodies, except mine was...
Point Break?
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. So I ended up getting the number of a woman who was in the Minnie Mouse costume.
Yes!
At the Epcot Japanese pavilion, because I was flirting around with her, and I handed her a piece of paper, because she was like, give me a piece of paper. And instead of her stupid signature, which is what all the kids are getting, they're getting autographs, I got a phone number. And was very jazzed about that. I have no idea what she looked like or anything. My parents came down on me like a ton of bricks.
Why?
About this stuff, because they were like, we are on vacation. We are not out here for you to go hunting.
That's what vacation is when you're 18.
Exactly.
What?
But I was still...
Did you ever call?
No, I didn't.
Oh, for God's sake.
I did not, because I did not have a separate room or anything. I was staying with my parents, of course, because it was vacation.
But you should have played it off to them like, hey, this might get us discounts if we go back tomorrow.
It'd certainly get me something. But but it was the thing that was so exciting about it is the fact I'm not into furry culture or anything by any means. This is not a...
I thought this was going to be a gateway story.
No. I was like, isn't this exciting? I have no idea what's in the package. It's a blind bag.
Yeah.
It's like, what's under the hood? I don't know. Is it somebody who's fucking gorgeous, or is it somebody who's absolutely hideous? Is it a man? Who knows?
Yeah.
It moved like a woman, so I assumed it was a woman.
How can you tell if someone moves like a man or a woman
She
they're in a
she had
costume?
calves like a woman, because she was wearing a short kimono with like the tights and then the big goofy feet.
Okay.
She had the calves of a woman, like possibly a gymnast type or a dancer type. So I was like, I'm willing to do this. I wasn't expecting the phone number, but I got it.
Yeah.
And it made my day.
Nice.
So there you go. There's something you didn't know.
I did not, and that's a wonderful story.
So what's something I don't know about you that I will, and everyone else will in a minute?
I used to be much more emotional, believe it or not, than I am today. Especially when I was a much younger kid, like kindergarten through 3rd or 4th grade, to the point where I would get worked up. I tended to cry at the drop of a hat. That was just me. And I got made fun of so much for it, especially like 3rd and 4th grade when I went to Crescent Springs Elementary, that I just don't cry anymore.
See, I can't imagine you being super emotional.
Exactly. And it's because
I've never known you as an emotional person.
Yeah. I keep it inside.
Okay.
I laugh a lot. I joke around when I can. I am emotional, but people don't see it.
So how did, like, you say the bullying or whatever, the making fun of, the teasing was what turned you around there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and it got to a point where, and if you've listened to our shows before, you'll see this is a running theme, that I just stop things. Like, I don't remember whatever dreams I might have because of that nightmare I had when I was 5. I got made fun of a lot for this, so I don't cry. Like, there are any number of movies, books, things like that make me want to cry. Mm-hmm. The ending of Return of the Jedi could do it, but it doesn't. I just don't. And it's because of that. That's why if I ever seemed emotionally distant, like not reacting how you would typically expect me to, it's that. Okay. And as I got older and delved into like Eastern philosophy and Stoicism and things like that, I think that's probably why I fell into that so easily, is because I was already doing it. I just didn't realize that there was kind of a philosophy behind it. You're emotional, but you don't have to let that control you. You don't have to be that emotion. So that's where that comes from.
Interesting. There you go.
Learning things about each other.
Yep, a serious answer from a serious guy.
Gotta love it. So that'll wrap it up here on this episode of the Gen X-istentialists. We told people at the beginning we were going to let them know how to get in touch with us.
Yeah,
now.
We've got a new email account. You can reach us at thegenexistentialists@gmail.com. And if you want to, we are worldwide now. We're on RSS.com. We are on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify. We're on
Apple Music.
Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere. So
everywhere you want us, you can find us.
Look
the
us
Gen
up.
X-istentialists.
Yeah, look us up.
And for anybody curious, it's not spelled exactly how you would expect. It's GenXistentialists.
Yeah, that's right, actually. Yeah. So that was a very spelling bee moment there.
You remember that when I won the spelling bee both years at Twin Hoffel,
I do remember that. Yes.
And I came in second at Crescent Springs Elementary in 4th grade.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway.
Nerds.
Point nerds! This has been the Gen X-istentialists. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.